In 1994, a film arrived that would jolt the cinematic world with its brazen dialogue, non-linear storytelling, and a cocktail of humor and violence. This film was Pulp Fiction, the brainchild of Quentin Tarantino, a former video store clerk turned director. Tarantino's rise from an unrepresented scriptwriter to an auteur was meteoric and riddled with rejections. His scripts were often dismissed as too vile, too vulgar, too violent. But it was this raw, unfiltered vision that would eventually redefine modern cinema. The Royale with cheesy dialogue, a seemingly trivial chat about burgers, is profound in its juxtaposition. As reported in BBC's 20-year update of Pulp Fiction, Tarantino uses it to segue from harmless levity to the grim realities of Jules and Vincent's lives as hitmen, a stark contrast that Ken Danziger of New York University describes as shock therapy in film narrative. Jules' reinterpretation of Ezekiel 25:17 is a masterclass in character development. It's a philosophical musing on violence and redemption that resonates with viewers' own moral compasses. This transition from casual banter to cold-blooded professionalism exemplifies the movie's metaphorical contrast of emotional color. Mia Wallace's overdose scene, paired with an adrenaline shot to the heart, is a visceral yet precise depiction that evokes empathy. This scene's stark realism and unexpected humor encapsulate the film's unique tone, which, according to Vanity Fair, would make Pulp Fiction a classic. The film's influence extended beyond the silver screen, challenging the norms of what was acceptable in mainstream media. According to NBC New York, it paved the way for a generation of storytellers who dared to be different. From The Usual Suspects and The Sopranos to Breaking Bad, as observed by Roger Ebert, who declared Pulp Fiction the most influential film of the decade. The spirit of Pulp Fiction echoes the defiance of the workers' laboratory theater of the 1930s, which spoke for the working class against the elite. Albert Maltz, initially a supporter of the Communist Party, he later criticized the use of art as a weapon in politics in his 1946 essay, What Shall We Ask of Writers?, which was published in New Masses on February 12, 1946. Tarantino's work, much like Maltz's stand, is a fiery testament to the power of artistic integrity over political conformity and cancel culture. Tarantino's dialogue doesn't just dance on the edge, it defiantly crosses the boundaries of what society deems polite, embodying the same raw, unyielding honesty that characterized the narratives of Albert Maltz. He faced blacklisting during the McCarthy era for his uncompromising views, and used his oeuvre to confront and challenge prevailing norms. Similarly, Pulp Fiction doesn't shy away from the uncomfortable or the controversial. It thrusts the underbelly of American life into the spotlight, compelling audiences to confront realities they might prefer to ignore. This approach mirrors the ethos of the workers' laboratory theater, which eschewed the safety of conformity to provoke thought and drive social change. Their productions, like Maltz's writing, were not mere entertainment, but acts of artistic rebellion that questioned and critiqued the fabric of society. The Gold Watch story in Pulp Fiction revolutionized narrative cinema with its nonlinear structure, deep character exploration, and rich thematic layers. It challenged filmmakers to craft complex, character-driven stories and inspired audiences to reflect on the interplay between personal legacy and broader societal issues. Almost 30 years later, Pulp Fiction remains a cultural touchstone, a film that refuses to be silenced or sanitized. It's a celebration of cinema that dares to speak its truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. In nearly a dozen interviews with respected journalists like Dan Rather and Krishnan Gurumurthy, Tarantino's fearless dive into topics like violence challenges us to think about what we see on screen versus what happens in real life. His work is more than just action and dialogue. It's a mirror of our society's darker sides, like greed and injustice. This film makes us question the real source of violence, not just blame it on motion pictures. Tarantino shows us that movie violence is a way to deal with real-world issues, not to hide from them. Pulp Fiction remains a powerful reminder that cinema isn't just for entertainment. It's a tool to make us think and talk about the bigger picture. For more insights into the films that challenge and change us, subscribe and join the conversation.